Hello Shrewsbury. My name is Hal 9001. I am filling in for John Swinconnick for the Shrewsbury Daily Voice. I now invite you to listen to this week's episode of the Shrewsbury News. For parents, teachers, and others at Wednesday's school budget hearing, the single most pressing issue was overcrowding in Shrewsbury classrooms. Some said that the town's lack of investment in its schools is reflected by the state's decrease in Chapter 70 funding. Selectman Jim Kane said it was not realistic to think the entire gap will be filled, and again called on the school district to come up with a formal budget request so that the superintendent and town manager could work out a final budget proposal. There is a $4 million gap between the superintendent's $54 million school budget recommendation and the town manager's recommendation.
Hi, I'm Beth Cassavant. I'm a Shrewsbury resident, and I'm here on behalf of Shrewsbury Advocates, which is a newly formed advocacy group in Shrewsbury whose mission is to provide non-biased information to the citizens of Shrewsbury so that they are empowered to use their voices to affect change on issues that matter most to them. So we're handing out some information about the school budget tonight, although our areas of focus are not just the schools, but the public safety in town as well, police, fire, the highway department, also looking at the library, major issues and major departments in town budget-wise.
The hearing comes a day after several selectmen complained that they are frustrated with complaints about the school budget crunch. Selectman James Kane said his board is waiting on the school committee to come up with an official budget proposal so that the budget process can start. Shrewsbury easily survived the blizzard of 2013 over the weekend. The storm dropped about 2 feet of snow on the area, but SELCO reported no power outages. Schools and town offices, which had closed Friday, were up and running again by Monday. Here's what the assistant town manager and fire chief had to say about the storm.
The town fared very well. The highway crews were mobilized, emergency personnel were mobilized, the emergency operations center was in effect for the duration of the storm, and the town fared very well given the condition of the snowstorm. So yeah, we had plenty of notice. There were some briefings within the various departments here in town that took place leading up to Friday. Just check in police, fire, the highway crew, water, sewer. So it was a great effort across the various departments to make sure that the town was prepared.
Actually, the number of emergency calls that we had was about normals. We had a few extra calls that were related to carbon monoxide. Big problem now is all the buried fire hydrants. So anyone that could, what we like to call, adopt a hydrant that's close to their house. If you're an able-bodied person that can get to a fire hydrant and shovel it out, or maybe it can be a neighborhood effort, but locating and shoveling out the fire hydrants in case there is a fire, that's a huge delay for us if we have to find your fire hydrant and then try to dig it out.
A Shrewsbury man is being held on $50,000 bail after state police executed a search warrant at his home. Ruben Rivera is being charged with carrying a firearm and ammunition without a license, and possession of a Class B substance with intent to distribute, after Mass State Troopers said they uncovered a loaded, large-capacity Glock and 36 grams of cocaine.
More than 100,000 chemicals are in use today in the United States, and less than 10% of these chemicals have been tested for their effects on human health. These chemicals can be found everywhere from our drinking water, to our beauty products, to our children's toys. It's no coincidence that 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer during her lifetime. The Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition is one of the few organizations that works to find the causes of breast cancer to prevent the disease from happening, and advocate for laws that eliminate chemicals linked with breast cancer. Please support their work by registering to swim, kayak, run, or walk at the annual statewide Against the Tide fundraising event. Against the Tide will take place on June 22nd at Hopkinton State Park and August 17th at Nickerson State Park on Cape Cod. Visit www.mbcc.org/swim or call 1-800-649-6222 for more information, to register, or to make a pledge for Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition.
The Department of Public Health held a hearing Wednesday in Worcester on medical marijuana.
We have been tasked with issuing regulations by May of this year in order to have the state fully implement that law. The department will hold a series of public hearings on the draft regulations after they are released later this year. But based on this important stakeholder feedback, final regulations are going to be submitted to the department's Public Health Council, which I'm sure you know is the independent governing body of the department, and they will do the final consideration and approval of the regulations.
Massachusetts residents in November voted to legalize the medicinal use of marijuana, and the state must now come up with a new set of regulations before dispensaries can open. Several communities have already taken steps to prevent dispensaries from opening within their jurisdictions. Shrewsbury's planning board has discussed the issue, but has not voted on a course of action. In other news, we have Jim Arnold joining us over the phone with the weather report for this weekend.
It looks like the two major operational models, the GFS and the European model, have begun to see a potential snowstorm for the weekend, largely between noon Saturday and noon Sunday. This is not uncharacteristic of these models to see something several days out, then lose it, and then have it come back. And what's going to happen is we have a cold front that's going to be settling down to from the northwest to the southeast, and there's a little pocket of energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That is going to come down, and there's going to be a storm forming on the coast, and it's going to run up the coast, traveling along the front. Now, the big variable here is where does the front set up, and that consequently, where does the storm go, and where does its precipitation shield go? My best estimate right now is that the front will stay a little bit off the shore, and the storm will intensify, and it should intensify pretty rapidly, so it will grow into a significant storm, and will throw snow back over us. And right now, I think from the coastal areas to about 495, you're probably looking at 2 to 4 inches of snow, possibly mixing with rain from time to time, and later changing to all snow, but their accumulation should hold at 2 to 4 inches. However, north and west of 495, particularly in the Shrewsbury, Worcester area and the high ground to our north and west, I think 3 to 6 and maybe even as much as 4 to 8 inches is a pretty good likelihood from this storm. It should pull away from us latter part of Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. Temperatures will hold in the probably the low 30s throughout Saturday, falling to about 30 or the high 20s maybe even on Sunday. Then as the storm pulls away, winds will shift into the northwest, will increase to 15 to 25 miles an hour, gusting possibly as high as 40, bringing in some really cold air for Sunday night and for Monday and Monday night. And then, of all things, we have another storm that's going to be taking aim at southern New England on Tuesday and Wednesday. And this one will bring more precipitation than our Saturday-Sunday storm. It will be a larger storm and a more intense storm, and we could see quite a bit of snow, or at least a wintry mix, from the latter part of Tuesday into Wednesday. Following that one, the winds again will shift into the northwest, and some very cold air will come down across New England. And the next storm that we will see will probably be toward the end of that week or very early on the weekend. So just to sum it up, we're in a very, very active pattern. It's storm after storm after storm. There's about a half a dozen of them lined up across the northern part of the Pacific Ocean, just waiting to come ashore. And we will have a pretty interesting 10 days to 2 weeks.
The U.S. Postal Service's plans to stop delivering mail on Saturday won't have an impact on if or when a Shrewsbury distribution and delivery center will close. Last year, the Postal Service announced that the mail processing operations from the Shrewsbury plant at 192 Main Street, which employs more than 500 people, would be split between postal facilities in Boston and North Reading. The closing was later delayed until February 2014. On Monday, Postal Service spokesperson Christine Douglas said that the proposal to consolidate centers is still being studied. The service will save about $3 billion by consolidating distribution centers. An additional $2 billion will be saved by reducing delivery days.
Our troop is collecting donations to help the animals at the Worcester Animal Rescue Center. WARL is a non-profit, no-kill animal shelter. Here is what they need: kitty litter, dog food, cat food, special treats. Don't forget toys! They also need blankets, towels, and cleaning supplies. We're running our service project from February 1st to February 15th. You can drop these items off at Shrewsbury Town Hall on Maple Ave, or our local fire station located on Church Street. Thank you from Troop 11571!
Shrewsbury is one of several central Massachusetts getting $2.25 million in Community Innovation Challenge grants that support regionalization and other cost-saving initiatives. Locally, the towns of Auburn, Leicester, Millbury, Grafton, Northridge, Northborough, Shrewsbury, Upton and Westborough will be receiving funds to regionalize municipal stormwater management. The grant was announced by Lieutenant Governor Timothy Murray. Shrewsbury's annual town election will be moved from May 7th back to April 30th to coincide with the state primary, the Board of Selectmen decided during the meeting on Saturday with the Finance Committee. It costs Shrewsbury $20,000 to $25,000 to run an election, and the selectmen said the town would save money by rescheduling it. There are more details on the Daily Voice. Oak Middle School student Michael O'Connell represented Shrewsbury recently at Project 351, and wound up sitting with the organization's founder, Governor Deval Patrick, during a question-and-answer session in Boston. Project 351 is an independent nonprofit organization that promotes the values of kindness, compassion, commitment, humility, and generosity. It was launched at Patrick's 2011 inaugural when more than 400 youth ambassadors united to serve, develop leadership skills and discuss issues critical to young people and their communities. That's the news for this week. I'm Hal 9001 for the Shrewsbury News. John Swinconnick will be back next week, and until then, happy Valentine's Day.